Hey you. Do you like the Tales from the Crypt series? Do you like spooky things in general? Then check out the Good Evening Kitties podcast. That's Good Evening Kitties podcast. GOODEVENING KIDDIES podcast. Each week, I'll review a new episode from the TV series The Tales from the Crypt. Find me on Podbay, Podbean, or iTunes. That's the Good Evening Kitties podcast. Check it out today.
Tim isn't a perfect man. He's not the perfect husband or father. He's a guy struggling to provide for his family. No matter how hard he tries, it's all falling apart. When it looks like things can't get any worse, the accident happens. Tim can't remember a thing. Only the sound of twisting metal, of the nightmares, and for the coyote stalking him through the halls of still waters. The doctors are lying, hiding behind false and stolen faces. Tim and the other patients are prisoners. Or is it all in his head? If he could only just remember. Follow Tim on his downward spiral through the asylum, through hell and back, as he uncovers the truth of what happened to his family. Tim E. Less is a disturbed horror thriller of insanity, chemical seduction, and true nightmares come to life. Silent Hill meets The Cell. Sometimes the real horror is remembering. Tim E. Less by Lucas Milian. Available on Amazon Kindle and Amazon Paperback.
Okay. Are we ready?
Check 1, check 2.
Check 1, check 2.
Okay. Get going.
708, Waite and Marsh. People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos is brought to you by bunningslippers.com and founditemclothing.com. Hey, Australia, New Zealand, or anywhere that is chilly right now, keep your feet warm and cute this winter with some Cthulhu slippers from bunningslippers.com. And get your favorite screen-accurate t-shirts from your favorite films from founditemclothing.com. People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos is written and edited by Daniel Spitzer. Audio by Sarah Fee and Daniel Spitzer. Music by Kevin MacLeod. MacLeod or McLeod?
MacLeod.
MacLeod. PGttCM is part of the Dark Myths Collective. Learn more at darkmyths.org. Check out a cool podcast like Our Fake History with Sebastian Major. Our Fake History is a podcast about myths people think are history and history that might be hidden in myths. Have you ever heard that old story about how Napoleon shot the nose off the Sphinx? Or that Shakespeare was an illiterate fraud? Or that Queen Elizabeth was actually a man? This show explores those tall tales and tries to figure out what's fact, what's fiction, and what is such a good story it simply must be told. The podcast combines storytelling, humor, and historical detective work to create a show that is good for both history buffs and anyone who loves a good story.
Welcome to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. Let me try that again. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos.
We are engaged in an ongoing discussion of the Cthulhu mythos and its timeline regarding Earth. To be part of it, contact us at pgttcm@gmail.com or join us on Facebook or Twitter. Just search for PGTTCM. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe to PGTTCM on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Click Patreon on pgttcm.podbean.com for early release episodes, unique audio content, or otherwise unreleased banter. Contact us about the sticker cult or donate a few dollars to paypal.me/pgttcm. Greetings, listeners. It is we, DB Spitzer and Sarah Fee, here to talk to you once again about the Cthulhu mythos, its books, its monsters, its unfortunate human casualties, its timeline in general, and even its tangential bits, like the dreamlands or things of a weird nature, or things that are Lovecraftian leaning. From the creation of our galaxy to the death of our sun, this is an exploration of the Cthulhu mythos from the perspective of humanity's concept of history.
Can I get that one again?
From the creation of our galaxy to the death of our sun, this is an exploration of the Cthulhu mythos from the perspective of humanity's concept of history.
Learn of terrible meetings in lonely places, of cyclopean ruins in which vast staircases lead down to abysses of nighted secrets, of complex angles that lead through invisible walls to other regions of time and space, and of hideous explorations in remote and forbidden places, on other worlds, and in different time-space continua.
Check out the show merch table at pgttcm.threadless.com. You can find lots of cool shirts and mugs, all original designs by DB Spitzer, or check out the store link on pgttcm.com. Remember to check out the books we review on amazon.com, and why not use our Amazon link to look for The Strange Behaviors anthology by Nihilism Revisited, and look for the micro story by DB Spitzer.
The People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos starts now. All right. So, banter. Yay.
Yay.
Okay, so let's see. We're going to be talking about some people who traffic with fish people.
Yeah, that's what it says in the next line for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want me to not read it later because we're going to talk about it now?
Oh, no. We'll talk about that.
Well,
in a bit.
let's talk about the thing on the doorstep.
Sure.
Which is the first story I read most of. That's a Lovecraftian story. and like that's kind of a fallout from trafficking with fish people.
Certainly.
Yeah, because of course Shadow of Innsmouth is where they're introduced.
Yes.
The deep ones.
The deep ones.
Yeah.
Well, I guess technically they're introduced in Dagon when a guy's boat, after getting sunk by a German U-boat, ends up on an island, and he runs across a weird stone that has a petroglyph of fish people worshipping a giant fish person who's like tearing a big whale in half and stuff. So.
Wait, does that mean Dagon looks like the deep ones?
Yeah, Dagon's a giant deep one.
Is he like the oldest deep one?
Dagon and Hydra are the oldest and the greatest of all the deep ones.
So, like, if the deep ones just get bigger as they get older?
That's what one
would
imagines.
assume.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they go through metamorphosis.
I don't know.
Me neither. I'm not in charge of this imaginary creation, so
Nope.
I don't know.
Yep. Who knows? Someone may have written about it. Someone may have written something contradictory to what that other person written.
I think that this particular idea is one of the sexiest ideas that Lovecraft has put forth for sure.
Sure.
Like, not that one could hope that on the human side that it's like consensual, like they get something out of it, and mostly you just see the product, which implies that there's something going on. But like this particular idea of intermingling and like propagating is definitely the sexiest thing that Lovecraft talks about.
Okay.
For sure. And it's not like even that, titillating, really.
Sure.
It's just sort of like, ooh, it's forbidden, and it's slightly ooky.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know about sexy ideas in Lovecraft personally. I generally don't think of much of what he does as very sexy, but kind of the opposite of sexy.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I imagine this is just pretty much a big euphemism for Lovecraft, or what's the term I'm looking for?
I think you're talking about allegory.
Allegory of race mixing for Lovecraft, and the or at least with the Shadow over Innsmouth, it's an allegory of race mixing of the bloodlines of the pure blood English-born New Englandites.
Yeah, the old school daughters of the American Revolution type people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, we can go down this road again.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's a road that is well paved by HPL's racism.
Yes. Well, what's interesting to me is that he definitely includes racist call-outs and sort of dog whistle stuff in his book that's racist against other, if you will, races of man.
Sure.
But then he really explores the ideas of othering and racism
Sure.
in his work with like other like creatures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, like the what are the conical people called again?
The Yithians?
Yeah, thank you. I was
The
going to say
Great Race of Yith?
Yeah, the Great Race of Yith. So the body switching in the Great Race of Yith, like that idea is like basically like walk a mile in these other guys' shoes, see what it's like, and he's like, it was awful. Don't do it. Yeah. You know, and it's like I think it's an interesting exploration. I think that the way that he explores any kind of like, I don't know, like a lot of his stories start with like, I can't believe this awful experience happened to me, and sure. I dare not tell it, but I must tell it, kind of, you know, opening, right? Yeah. And then like, I wonder if somebody who is less xenophobic had written the same ideas, it probably goes a bit differently. Today we will be talking about a few humans who traffic with fish people, the town of Innsmouth.
It was a town of wide extent and dense construction, yet one with a pretentious dearth of visible life. From the tangle of the chimney pots, scarcely a whisper of smoke came, and the 3 tall steeples loomed stark and unpainted against the seaward horizon. One of them was crumbling down at the top, and in that and another there were only black gaping holes where clock dials should have been. The vast huddles of sagging gambrel roofs and peaked gables conveyed with offensive clearness the idea of wormy decay. And as we approached along the now descending road, I could see that many a roof had wholly caved in. There were some large square Georgian houses too, with hipped roofs and cupolas and railed widow walks. The decay was worse close to the waterfront, though in its very midst I could spy the white belfry of a fairly well-preserved brick structure which looked like a small factory. The harbor, long clogged with sand, was enclosed by an ancient stone breakwater. Here and there were the ruins of wharves jutted out from the shore to end in indeterminate rottenness. Those farther south seemed to be most decayed. And far out to sea, despite a high tide, I glimpsed a long, black line scarcely rising above the water, yet carrying a suggestion of odd latent malignancy. This, I knew, must be Devil's Reef.
Devil's Reef. Lovecraft placed Innsmouth on the coast of Essex County, Massachusetts, south of Plum Island and north of Cape Ann. The town of Ipswich, Massachusetts is said to be a near neighbor where many Innsmouth residents do their shopping. Rowley, Massachusetts, another neighboring town, is said to be to the northwest. This would place Innsmouth in the vicinity of Essex Bay. Obed Marsh is a fictional character in H.P. Lovecraft's Shadow over Innsmouth. Obed Marsh was Innsmouth's most prominent merchant captain and founder of that town's esoteric order of Dagon. Obed's 3 ships, the Columbia, Hetty, and Sumatra Queen, did a brisk business in the Pacific trade beginning in 1820 and lasting over 20 years. As a result of this prosperity, the Marshes became Innsmouth's most powerful family. On one of his early trips, Captain Marsh stumbled across a group of Polynesian islanders who possessed a large number of gold and ornaments. According to Wallachia, the tribe's chieftain, a race of fish beings had brought these to them in exchange for human sacrifices. For a few rubber and glass trinkets, Marsh procured a large amount of the natives' gold. In the following years, Obed visited the islanders many times, trading for more gold and listening to their legends. When Marsh journeyed to this island in 1838, however, he found that natives from the surrounding islands had killed his trading partners and that his source of revenue was lost. The repercussions of this disaster were felt throughout Innsmouth, and the town soon plunged into a depression. It was then that Marsh began to preach a new religion based on the Polynesians' beliefs. If the people of Innsmouth followed the gods of his islander friends, he proclaimed, they would become rich and the nets of the fishermen would always be full. After a while, Marsh's esoteric Order of Dagon became so popular that all of Innsmouth's churches were forced to close down due to a lack of worshippers, or the Order's strong-arm tactics. During the chaos instigated by the plague of 1846, in which half of the townspeople died, Marsh became the town's de facto leader, a post that he held until his death in 1878. Following his demise, the Marsh family kept its hold on local power until the government raids in 1928.
So this then lets us know that Obed Marsh, while trafficking with fish people, was not immortal like his children would have been.
Right, because he's
So-
just human.
He's just human.
She was one of the Innsmouth Waites, and dark legends have clustered for generations about crumbling, half-deserted Innsmouth and its people. There are tales of horrible bargains about the year 1850, and of a strange element not quite human in the ancient families of the run-down fishing port. Tales such as only old-time Yankees can devise and repeat with proper awesomeness, as in its case was aggravated by the fact that she was Ephraim Waite's daughter. The daughter of the child of his old age, and by an unknown wife who always went veiled. Ephraim lived in a half-decayed mansion in Washington Street, Innsmouth, and those who had seen the place, Arkham folk avoided going to Innsmouth whenever they can, declared that the attic windows were always boarded, and that the strange sounds sometimes floated within as evening drew on. The old man was known to have been a prodigious magical student in his day, and legend averred that he could raise or quell a storm at sea, according to his whim. I had seen him once or twice in my youth, as he came to Arkham to consult the forbidden tomes at the college library, and had hated his wolfish, saturnine face with its tangle of iron-gray beard. He had died insane under rather queer circumstances just before his daughter, by his will, made a nominal ward of the principal, entered the Hall School, but she had been his morbidly avid pupil and looked fiendishly like him at times.
Well, I mean, we know what was going on there.
We do indeed know what was going on there, for sure. We do indeed. Okay. According to the Encyclopedia Cthulhiana, Ephraim Waite was a fictional character in H.P. Lovecraft's The Thing on the Doorstep, is a resident of Innsmouth, Massachusetts, who many considered to be a wizard of some power. Waite is an old Innsmouth name, but according to rumor, Ephraim Waite was originally Chemosh Ephraim ben Denel of New York, a young man interested in diabolism who changed his name and moved to Innsmouth. Ephraim supposedly could control the weather and perform other mystical feats, and he often traveled to Miskatonic University to consult that institution's occult holdings. He was known for solving many minor crimes among the locals and participated in rites of the cult of the skull.
In his later years, Waite took a wife whose face no one ever saw, and who disappeared shortly after she bore his daughter Asenath. When his daughter was in her early teens, Ephraim lost his mind, and Asenath confined him in the attic of their Innsmouth residence. Ephraim died not long following his imprisonment. Some suspected poison, but most of the Innsmouth residents had no misgiving about Asenath, and no one ever charged her with his death.
So, I mean, this is yet another... Is this yet another instance of a female character being confined while giving birth and making a new generation? I'm talking about Ephraim's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the deep ones
Even though
get
she's
shafted.
a deep one.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you know.
Or maybe she's just half deep one and Asenath's a quarter deep one. Or something, because, I mean, do half-blood deep ones look human enough to pass?
They do, and then they go under the transformation, and then they go swim out to Devil's Reef, and then deep underneath down to the city of Yahal.
Whatever it's
someone will knows it.
Mm-hmm. Please shout it at us on Twitter.
Yeah.
We would love to hear all about it.
Or you can email us at pgttcm.com. PGTTCM.
at gmail.com.
At gmail.com, yeah.
No dot. There's no dot.
No dot, yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, but this is interesting that there's like two men who willingly go to live with live with the deep ones. So first we have Obed, who just wants some gold.
Yeah, he does. He wants some gold, and then he greed leads him to the deep ones. Mm-hmm. And I've been told before that the deep ones are, so much more advanced than humans biologically and also culturally and scientifically and technologically.
Well, I don't know about technologically or
but maybe just biologically.
Just biologically,
so much
possibly
more
culturally.
advanced.
I mean, it depends on what you think is
what's good culture.
Yeah.
Look, they were in debris before anybody else.
Yeah. They've been making gold jewelry since the Pleistocene era.
So have we. Well, not the Pleistocene, but since humans can manipulate metal of any sort, we're like, ooh, shiny.
Yeah.
Bunch of magpies. I guess what I'm saying here is that I would have been told is that they're sort of amusing themselves with humans, like, oh, they're so fun and cute. And then once they lose their interest in us, they're just going to kill us all.
Yeah. That's one thing. That? Another thing I think is that they are possibly what if Hydra and Dagon are like paragons of the race, but they need to prolong the race. They need to always go with like whatever the dominant race is to
so like there's more humans on the earth, and so therefore they need to bring human blood into the race of the deep ones.
Yeah. Or also as Shadow over Innsmouth.
We are termite like in that way. We take over.
Yeah. Shadow over Innsmouth talks about worries of just like immortal fish people gathering numbers at the bottoms of the ocean, waiting for the stars to come right and then take over the surface.
Yeah.
And you know who the deep ones worship?
Cthulhu?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I mean, Dagon and Hydra are priests of Cthulhu.
Right.
And Cthulhu's a priest of Azathoth.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Look, it all goes up the chain. It's a big pyramid scheme,
Yep.
Look, if you get close enough to Cthulhu, he's going to sell you some excellent laundry detergent. It's just amazing.
Some protein bars.
Get your white so white. You can bulk up right away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, let's talk more about these humans that traffic with fish people.
Right, because we're not really talking about the deep ones today. We're talking about the humans that are involved with the deep ones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once you're one generation away from deep ones, it makes a lot of sense that all of the, like, if you will, children of the deep ones who are half human, half deep one, are described as being quite attractive, despite a slightly protuberant eye.
Yeah,
and some weird markings on their chins.
Yes, lewd winkers they are.
Yeah, I guess they are lewd winkers. They're probably, it's like they've probably got a certain swagger, a certain confidence,
Yeah.
So that makes sense that people would be interested in trafficking with those people, if you will. Trafficking being in big quotation marks here as a euphemism.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, what is the attraction to the original? Power?
Well, I mean, your theory so far, like half and quarter deep ones could be very, very attractive people while they're young, and then they change and get ready to go to the ocean. But before that, you've got an island of very, very attractive people with gold. First, it's like, whoa, look, hey, let's stay here a couple of days.
Yeah, right.
Let's fill up on supplies, gentlemen.
I mean, European sailors had monosexual boats, i.e., they're all men.
Yeah.
And they show up, and if there's anybody who's not male, they're like, "Wah!" Yeah. That's why manatees were ever considered, to be women. Yeah. So it's like they're like, it's not male. Let's fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. But then there's the gold.
Yeah. Well, greed and sex.
Yeah.
If it's not sex, it's money. If it's not money, it's sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you found an island that you can get both?
Woohoo. Let's set up there.
So 708Marsh, That guy was old. He did brisk trade in the Pacific beginning in 1820. He died in 1878. I'm going to say there's probably a little bit of magic involved there. Possibly learned some tricks from the esoteric Order of Dagon, prolonging life. But
so if he died
for
in
human standards.
in 1878.
Yes.
So, and he started in 1820. So let's say he was like born in 1800. That's conservative.
Yeah.
So he was in his 80s at least. What was it? You said it was 78. So he was 78 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That way, but probably he was born before that.
Yeah, no, I was guessing that like in 1820 he has all those boats and he did it, did it
Once you
by
have
the
that
grit
many-
of his teeth.
Yeah, if he has 3 ships, then he probably is in his 40s.
Yeah, no, he was probably like
Going
the
on spec to the
sons
80s.
of son of a privateer who did colonial.
Right, so
trade.
he was probably born in 1780 something.
It's probably-
Which means he was almost 100 years old, which back then is kind of unheard of.
Insane, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the only person who's older.
Because everybody lived on salt beef and cigarettes, so pipe smoke.
Yeah, no, and like the
Grog.
only person who's older who might even be like, oh, I know him, is like the old man at the terrible old man.
Yeah.
Who's like, Spanish Joe, you remember Obed Marsh? Bah, ha, 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 ha.
Obed's like, you'll never get me in a bottle. Deep ones protect me.
Yeah, no, and if we recall, not Obed, the terrible old man has like strange Polynesian style stones decorating his front yard.
That's a good point.
I wonder if that's like some sort of like
Callback.
or some sort of like
Well-
here in Kingsport we don't cotton to fish people.
Well, maybe, but another idea is that so Ephraim Waite, right, or what's his longer name, Kimosh Ephraim Ben Denel of New York. Maybe if he, is the eons old wizard that we have speculated. Maybe he's friends with the terrible old man.
Possibly.
Maybe they're age mates.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, what if?
And because obviously the terrible old man knows something about consciousness transferring.
Yeah. If he can put his ghost buddies in pendulums.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's something there. There's something there. But also, if if he knows that and he learned that in the South Island Seas, learned it from Pacific Islanders and stuff like that. I mean, that might be something that the esoteric Order of Dagon knows. And that may be why Ephraim was like, well, maybe I should go
Be a
live
deep
among these
one.
fish people and learn their dark magic so I can live forever too.
Well, that's one of the things that really bothers me at a thing on the doorstep is that Ephraim gets into his daughter Asenath, right? And then he immediately wants to get out of a female body.
No, he's there for a couple of years.
Well, yeah, but he immediately starts
Makes
trying
plans.
to, get into, quote, a male body so
Yeah.
he, quote, has all his magical powers, etc.
Yeah.
Rolling my eyes. But, it's like, here's another thing is why didn't he try to have a second kid with his Deep One wife to have a son?
A son, yeah.
Because, sort of immortal Deep One body might be better for him to stay in. Why did he want to get into this other pudgy guy?
Oh, no, and it's just like, I don't know, and it just sounds like some kind of like sickly, slightly pudgy little guy who wrote spooky stories about Azathoth. So yeah, no, there's I think the Deep Ones, besides the obvious method, know a little bit about prolonging one's life, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna guess. I'm starting to think maybe the terrible old man learned something from them.
It's possible.
Possible.
That terrible old man is pretty awful.
Yeah, he's
Like,
pretty rotten.
Only members of the heterogeneous diaspora would ever be fooled by him.
That's how Spanish Joe ended up in that bottle.
He's like,
That's
I'm
the
so
only
heterogeneous.
name I can remember right now for
Me
some
neither.
reason.
I don't know any of them.
Oh, it's okay.
I know that they were like boat buddy names.
Yeah.
Like, you know, guy you sail around with names.
Yeah, like Spanish Joe, Little Pete, Rotfoot.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
The Big Guggler.
The Big Guggler.
The Big Guggler.
I'm naming my next dog that.
Yeah, I'm naming my next child that.
No. But I think we're both as likely to use it.
All right.
All right.
Up next is a review for Night in the Woods, not the 2012 horror film, but the 2017 video game. Yes, a video game review. We haven't done one of those in a while. Nuke Possum Springs. Night in the Woods is a single-player adventure game released for Windows, the Mac, Linux, PS4, Xbone, and the Switch. It came out December 2017, I think, and yeah, their phone stuff for it came out in 2018. It's listed as a platformer. It's not necessarily a platformer. It's listed as a mobile game. It's not necessarily a mobile game. You can play it as a mobile game, but you can play a lot of things as mobile games. I'm pretty sure Skyrim's a mobile game now. Anyway, Night in the Woods. It is about a 20-year-old anthropomorphic cat lady in a world where things are like, she's a cat, but there's also cats walking around. It's kind of like a Pluto Goofy kind of thing. Anyway, and there's raccoon people, and you'll see raccoons occasionally, and so, you know, it's like that. It's kind of like Richard Scarry meet Disney, but in a depressing Rust Belt town where you find an arm one day coming from hanging out with friends. Yeah, there's a mystery. You drop out of college. There's weird stuff going on. Occasionally, someone like a cop will say something cryptic to you. You'll see some weird stuff. You'll do some weird stuff. You'll have nightmare dreams and you'll have nightmare eyes. But hey, be body positive. Eat tacos. Eat pizza. Eat the crust of pizza. Feed rats pretzels that you steal. Steal and break stuff. It's not a platformer, but there's platforming elements. It's probably one of the greatest things I've played in a while, and I play a lot of Fallout 4, which of course is currently one of the greatest things ever. All right, I just watched the BE3 2018. I'm excited about upcoming stuff for Prey, one of the greatest Lovecraftian games of all time, and also Fallout 76, which some episodes may still exist of me, like, I don't know, head injuring about Fallout 4, and if there's an old enough episode, me rambling on about Fallout New Vegas, but I think many of those have been swept under the rug as they don't sound so great. Alright, that's this for this. Night in the Woods, play it. Why are you talking about it on this podcast? Well, it falls under strange fiction. It's definitely weird fiction for sure. And without spoiling anything, there is a Lovecraftian element in the game, and there's all kinds of stuff hidden in the game that if you play it right, you find it. If you don't, you just, have a very kind of mundane playing experience with a little bit of a shock at the end, and then you're like, oh, okay. But yeah. Explore the hell out of Possum Springs as May. Find out why she dropped out of school. Hang out with Gregory, the hyperactive fox, and his boyfriend Angus. Or hang out with B, your frenemy from high school, who's, used to be your friend in middle school. Yeah. Learn everyone's tragic backstory. Hear dad jokes. Go to crawl spaces. Discover tattoos. Yeah. Night in the Woods. It's on everything. Play it. It's if you liked Oxenfree, if you like stuff like that, it's not like Gone Home. There's actually a point to it. There is exploration. There's a lot of exploration, replayability to it, and I highly recommend it. Okay.
Remember to stay squiggly
And keep it weird.
Next reading is The Willows by Algernon Blackwood, originally published as part of his 1907 collection, The Listener and Other Stories. It is one of Blackwood's best-known works and has been influential on a number of later writers. H.P. Lovecraft considered it to be the finest supernatural tale in English literature.
Algernon Henry Blackwood. Episode 709 will be about the Peasley family and their wacky Australian adventure.
People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos is brought to you by BunnySlippers.com and FoundItemClothing.com. Written and edited by Daniel Spitzer. Audio by Sarah Fee and Daniel Spitzer. Music by Kevin MacLeod. PGTTCM is part of the Dark Myths Collective.
darkmyths.org, and the title track for PGTTCM is The Chamber by Kevin MacLeod.
We are engaged in an ongoing discussion of the Cthulhu mythos and its timeline regarding Earth. To be part of it, contact us at pgttcm@gmail.com or join us on Facebook or Twitter. Just search for PGTTCM. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe to PGTTCM on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And remember, we are also on the YouTubes and the Instagrams. All right. Peace in the Middle East.
War in the Central Core.
Bye. Oh, shit, I forgot to hit record.
No! I'm sorry, am I saying something?
No, I just don't have my glasses on.
Oh, so you can't see my face.
Yeah.
I see. Because we're a whole 2 feet apart.
Don't be shitty.
I'm not being shitty. We are a whole, maybe it's 3 feet.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. It's 3 feet apart.
Okay.
Look, I'm not wearing my glasses either.
Uh-huh. Anyway.
Yeah.
So let's talk about today we'll be talking. Oh no, you got to say that part.
Oh.